Creating an online shop is now easier than ever. With a minimum investment of time and money, you can have an online store up and running in a very short amount of time. And one of the ways you can do that is with WooCommerce. At its core, WooCommerce is an open source e-commerce platform built on WordPress. And by using its free plugin, you can turn any WordPress site into a fully functional shop. So if you ever wanted to learn how to do that, but maybe you didn't get a chance to work with WooCommerce, or maybe you did use it, but you didn't understand exactly how it works, then this course is for you. But hey, if we're just meeting, my name is Adi. I'm a web designer and developer. And in this course, I'll show you the fundamentals of creating an online store on your WordPress website by using WooCommerce. And we'll kick things off with a closer look at WooCommerce, where we can get it, and also how to install it. Then we'll learn how to add products. And there are several types of products we can add to WooCommerce. So we'll look at each and every one. We'll work with simple and variable products, but also virtual, digital downloadable, external, and grouped products. Then we'll talk about upsells and cross-sells. These are techniques for increasing sales, and I'll show you how to implement them in WooCommerce. In the end, we'll briefly talk about WooCommerce customization and also about the next steps in setting up the shop after all of the products are added. With that said, I think we can get started. But before we do that, I want to quickly tell you that you can find lots of WooCommerce themes and plugins on Envato Elements. Simply go to elements.envato.com and do a search for WooCommerce. Pick the WordPress category and then choose between themes, plugins, and even Elementor template kits you can use in your WooCommerce shop. In addition, you can find tons of other useful resources like fonts, icons, UI kits, and much more. All these assets have simple commercial licensing, and you're not bound to any contract. Therefore, you can cancel whenever you want. So if you're interested, check out the link in the video description. Now, let's kick things off by learning how to install WooCommerce. As I said in the beginning, WooCommerce is an open source e-commerce platform built on WordPress, and it's created by Automatic, which is the same company that built WordPress, Jetpack, Gravatar, Tumblr, and a couple of other awesome projects. You can find more info by going to woocommerce.com, and if you go to the showcase page, you can see a list with some of the shops that were built with WooCommerce. Among these, we can find the All Blacks official shop, Weber, South Africa, and Nick Offerman's Woodshop. Now, there are two ways of getting started with WooCommerce, and picking the right one depends on how you're hosting your WordPress website. If your site is created on WordPress.com, then to create a shop, you would go to WooCommerce.com, log in, and follow the steps there. However, if you're self-hosting your WordPress website, so if your hosting provider is something different than WordPress.com, then you would need to use the plugin, the WooCommerce plugin, to get things moving. And that's exactly what I'm going to be doing in this course, because I will be working on a local installation of WordPress. So let me show you what I have set up. I am using an app called Local, and you can find this app if you go to localwp.com. This is a free app you can download. It's cross-platform, and from what I've tested so far, it's the easiest way to get WordPress up and running on your local machine. And that's exactly what I did. I have just a website called local-wp created, and I just have a blank installation of WordPress. As you can see, I have no plugins, and as far as themes go, I am using the 2023 default theme from WordPress. Obviously, the steps that I'm going to show you in this course can be applied to a live WordPress website. It's exactly the same thing. Now, I won't go over WordPress installation because for this course, I assume that you're already familiar with WordPress and you already have it installed. So now that we're set up, the next step is to install WooCommerce. And before we do that, I would just like to give you a quick reminder to subscribe to Envato Tuts Plus for more free courses and tutorials just like this one. All right, let's get WooCommerce installed. So I'll go back to my WordPress backend here, and I'll go to Plugins, Add New, and I'm going to search for WooCommerce. Install now, it's this one right here, and it's going to proceed to downloading and installing the plugin. This might take a minute or so, depending on your connection speed. And while we're waiting for this to install, I would just like to mention that the theme that we're using doesn't really matter for this course. The main focus for me right now is to show you the main or the core functionality of WooCommerce. The theme will simply dictate how our shop looks like, but in terms of functionality, our shop will work the same way regardless of what theme we're using. So for the rest of this course, I'll just stick with the 2023 theme that comes by default with WordPress. Now, if we check back on our plugin, WooCommerce has been installed, so let's go ahead and activate it. And while that's happening, I would just like to draw your attention to something else. If we now look at the local installation here, we can see that we just have one page added to our website. And this is a sample page. It comes by default from WordPress. But you'll see that after we install WooCommerce, we're going to have a couple more pages here. So after the plugin has activated, we are greeted with the setup wizard. And we can skip this entirely if we want to. In my case, I'm just going to set up the country. Let's say our shop is in United States somewhere, in Alabama, let's say. And I'm just going to hit continue here. No thanks, I don't want to share any data. In which industry does the store operate? Well, for this demo store, I'm just going to be selling some clothing. So I'm going to select fashion here, continue. I'm going to sell physical products and also downloads, continue. How many products? Let's say 11 to 100. I'm not selling anywhere else, continue. Let's just uncheck this, continue. And here, WooCommerce is going to ask me to choose a theme, and you can browse through these. Some of these are free, like storefront. Some of them are paid. So if you don't have a theme already and you want to choose one from the screen, you can do so. But personally, I'm just going to continue with my active theme. And once that's done, WooCommerce is installed. And what we can do here is just hide the setup list, hide this, dismiss all these messages. We don't really care about this. And it's installed. We're ready to go. Now, if we go back to our local installation, this is what we had before. But if I do a refresh, you'll see that WooCommerce now added a couple of pages. Cart, checkout, my account, and shop. And obviously the shop page is the one that we're interested in because this is where our products will be displayed. So before we start adding products, there is just one more thing I would like to do, and that is to set this shop page as my home page, because currently if I open up the website, by default, it shows this blog index page, but I would like it to show the shop page. So to do that, we go back to the WordPress admin, we go to settings, reading, and where it says your homepage displays, I'm just going to select a static page. And for the homepage, I'm going to select shop. Save changes. And now if I do a quick refresh, my homepage is now shop. Now, with WooCommerce installed, we have access to the products interface, which means we can start adding products. And this is probably the place that you'll be using the most because at the center of every store, we can find products, right? That's the purpose of any store, is to sell products. So because WooCommerce has a few different types of products we can add, we're going to go through each one and see what they're all about, when to use them, and how to add those types of products. Let's start with a simple product. Simple products are called simple because they have no variations, basically. So they don't have extra colors or sizes or anything like that. And your store can have a lot of simple products, or it can have a very few simple products. It really depends on what you're selling. So let me show you how you can create a simple product. And there are a few different ways of creating products in WooCommerce. First of all, if you're on the front end and you can see this WordPress bar on the top, which only appears when you're logged in, you can go to New and you can choose Product. Alternatively, you can go to the back end, you can go to Products, and you can click Add New from here, or you can click the Create Product button. And regardless of what you choose, they all do the same thing, and they will just take you to the Add New Product page. Now, I have prepared some dummy products here. You can see that I have a folder for every single product type we're going to create. And the first one is Simple Product, where I have an image and I have a simple description. So let's open the description here. And as you can see, I have a title, some description. I have a price, weight, number, inventory. So how many products do I have in stock? A SKU number. I'll explain what this is in just a little bit. And then some categories and tags. So let's go ahead and copy the title, and let's go back to our WooCommerce page here. I'm just going to paste that in as the product name. And then each WooCommerce product has two descriptions. We have a large description, which we can fill right here. And we have a short description that we can fill right here. And I'll show you where those are going in just a little bit. So let's actually copy this. Let's paste it as the main description, or the long description. And let's copy this and let's paste it as the short description. So now let's go ahead and publish this product. And I'm going to go back to my website, and in my shop page, I can now see a product. And if we click on it, we can see here the title, we can see the short description, and over here, we can see the long description. Next, what about an image? Because nobody's going to buy a product if they can't see what it looks like, right? So for the image, we can go back, and to the right side where it says product image, I can click this and I can simply drag and drop that image. Let's rename this to polo shirt, and I'm just going to copy and paste this in both the description and the alt text. This is important. You should do it all the time. And when I'm done, I'm just going to click Set Product Image, Update. So now if we go back, we can see the image is now properly displayed. And when I click inside, the image is shown right here. And of course, I can move my mouse cursor to zoom in. The way this is presented is really dependent on the theme that we're using. But for 2023, this is what it looks like. Next, what about a price? Because if we take a look here, we can also see that we have a price for this product, but also the product is on sale. So it has a discounted price of $14.99. So to add a price, we will go back, and down here where it says product data, we need to make sure this is a simple product and virtual and downloadable are not checked. This basically means that this is a physical product. And under the general tab, we can find boxes for the price. Now, quick note here, if for some reason you didn't configure your shop correctly in the initial steps, if you remember that setup wizard, then you can go to WooCommerce settings, and you can set your country here. And then if you scroll down, you'll find the currency. So you need to make sure that you're setting the correct currency before you start adding any prices. And you can also set up the thousand separator, the decimal separator, the number of decimals. So, you have a lot of control over how the price looks like. But if everything is set up correctly, then you'll be good to go. So the regular price was $19.99 with a sale price of $14.99. All right. And for the sale price, this is actually pretty cool. You can schedule it. You can say, okay, I want this product to be discounted starting, I don't know, 2 days from now and ending 10 days from now. So you can do that very easily in WooCommerce. But if the pricing is right, then just hit update. And now with a simple refresh, we can see the price being displayed here in the front end. And we also see a sale badge being displayed in the product page, but also in the shop page. It's right here. Pretty cool. What's next? Well, if we look down here, we can see two tabs. We'll get to reviews in just a little bit. Description, this is the long description, but there's actually a third tab that can appear here. That's for additional information like weight, dimensions, and stuff like that. So if you want to add a weight to this product, and we do have a weight here, 300 grams, you can go to shipping and you can set the weight here. And of course, this will be taking into consideration later on when you're shipping the product and you need to add shipping costs. So right now the weight is set to kilograms, but if you would rather set it as something else, then you need to go to WooCommerce settings, you go to products, and you can change the weight unit and the dimension unit. For example, let's change this to grams, and dimensions, centimeters is actually okay. You also have imperial measurements here. So let's go ahead and save the changes. Let's go back to our product, polo shirt. And under shipping, let's change the weight to 300 grams. I'm not going to bother with dimensions. Well, actually, you know what? Let's do that. Let's say, I don't know, 50 centimeters with 40 and height 120. I'm just adding some random values there so you can see how they are being displayed in the front end. So now, if I do a refresh, you'll see that we have a third tab called Additional Information, and inside we'll find the weight and the dimensions that we just added. All right, cool. Now let's talk about inventory, because when you're selling a product, you will have some sort of inventory. In my case, the shirts, I have 50 of them in stock. So I need to add this number in WooCommerce. We do that very easily by going to the Inventory tab and by clicking Manage Stock. And here I can say 50. So now if I update and I refresh, WooCommerce tells me that, hey, we have 50 of these items in stock. And of course, if someone just orders 5 of them, WooCommerce automatically calculates the remaining stock and it will display 45, which is pretty cool. Now, when it comes to the inventory, there is a special identifier here called the SKU. This stands for Stock Keeping Unit. And it's basically a unique identifier for that product. And if you're selling your own products, then the SKU, the SKU as it's pronounced, can be whatever you want. So it can be this, for example. Any format will work. It really depends on what is more efficient for you. However, if you're selling a branded product, it's important that you use the SKU that the original manufacturer created. And here's why you should do that. For example, let's go to the Adidas website. And I just browsed to just a random product here, this Essentials Holiday Pack Fleece Pants. Now, if we scroll down and we go to details, we can see a product code. So let's go ahead and copy this and do a Google search for it. And the Google search will basically show me all the websites that are selling a product with that exact SKU. So obviously we can find it on the official Adidas website, but also we can find it on this website right here, right? It's the exact same product, but it's being sold in shops other than the official Adidas shop. So if you want to sell, I repeat, branded products like this, you might want to use the original SKU for that product. But if you're selling your own products, then the SKU can be whatever you want it to be. In our case, I'm just going to use this SKU right here, CS for clothing store, and then 0001. The next product could be 0002, the next one 3, 4, 5, and so on and so forth. For now, let's display this right here. Also, when it comes to inventory, there are 2 more things I would like to talk about here, and that is back orders and low stock threshold. So back orders, if you decide to allow them, they will do something like this. So let's choose allow but notify customer. Let's update. And here, where we have the stock information, we see 50 in stock and can be back ordered. So that means that if I ordered 60 of them and I view the cart, I'll be notified as a customer that, hey, this product is available on back order. And what does that mean? Well, it means I'll get the 50 which are in stock, but for the rest of the 10, I'll have to wait until they're back on stock, and then they'll be shipped to me. And you also have the option to allow back orders, but without notifying the customer. Personally, I would just not allow back orders unless there is a specific reason for you to do that. The other option is this one, low stock threshold. By default, there is a store-wide threshold of 2, which means if my stock quantity falls below 2, I'll get a notification from WooCommerce telling me that, hey, you have less than 2 products in stock, or less than 2 items in stock for this particular product. So you can use the store-wide threshold, which, by the way, can be edited, or you can use your own, but this is only going to be available for this product right here, just for this polo shirt. Personally, I'm just going to leave it at the store-wide threshold. So then let's do an update. Let's actually remove these from the cart. And now, when looking back at our polo shirt, we can also see the SKU being displayed. And right next to that, we can see category. So let's talk about categories and tags. And these are great ways of creating structure for your products. Obviously, you won't be adding your products in a single category on your website unless you have, very few products. But for a clothing store, for example, we need categories. And if we take a look at our polo shirt brief here, we can see we have 3 categories, right? Men's clothing, summer, and then shirts. So let's go ahead and create these categories. To create them, you would simply go to the right side where it says product categories, add new, paste that in, add, and make sure you uncheck uncategorized. And then we also had summer. So let's add that one. And we'll set the parent category as men's clothing. Add. And then shirts. And we'll set the parent as summer. So now our polo shirt is under shirts, under summer, under men's clothing. So if I hit an update, you'll see that this structure is now also reflected here in the breadcrumbs, right? So I'll do a refresh, and it's now nicely displayed within those categories and subcategories. And of course, clicking any of these will show all the items, all the products that belong in that category or subcategory. And you can also see the new categories being displayed here. What about tags? Well, tags represent another great way of organizing, of structuring your products, but they're not as powerful as the categories. So here for tags, we have summer cotton shirt. We can just copy all of these. And if we scroll down where it says product tags, I can just paste these in. I can add all of them. And when I hit update, those tags will now be displayed in the product page. And of course, I can click on any of the tags, and WooCommerce will show me all the products that are tagged with that particular term. Pretty cool. And finally, one last thing I want to show you here is reviews. So if you decide to allow reviews for your products, this is where you're going to find them. And because I'm logged in, I can leave a review. I can set a rating, and I can say, hey, this is great. And I'm going to click submit. So now we have one review added for this product. Now, the reviews are being highlighted in multiple locations. First of all, here in these 3 tabs, we can see how many reviews we have. Under the product title, we can see the rating and the number of reviews. And also, if we open up the shop page, we can see the rating here under the product name. And of course, if you open the store and you're not logged in, so for example, let me open up a private window here. And if I go to the polo shirt and I go to reviews, you will see the submit form looks a little bit different. I can add my rating here. I can add my review. Hello. And I need the name, the email, and then I can click submit. And we can see that your review is awaiting approval. So if we close this and we go back to WooCommerce product reviews, we can see that, hey, we have a new review that's waiting our approval, and we can approve it, or we can reply, edit, spam, trash, whatever we want with it. So let's go ahead and approve that. And now our product will have an updated rating and an updated number of reviews. Now, some key takeaways. In WooCommerce, a simple product has no variations like color or size. Each product can have a long and a short description. Before setting product prices, make sure you select the proper currency for your store. As a best practice, make sure your products have a SKU or stock keeping unit. To create a proper structure for your products, always use categories and tags. And those are the basics of adding a simple product in WooCommerce. And as I mentioned previously, there are a couple of different product types we can add. So let's move on to the next one, which is a variable product. In WooCommerce, a variable product has variations, and these can be whatever you want, whatever you need them to be. For example, if you're selling clothes, then two of the most common variations would be color and size. If you're selling hard drives, a variation could be the capacity of the drive, right? And the examples can go on and on. So let me show you how to create a variable product. And the product that I want to add is a V-neck t-shirt that has a couple of variations. First of all, I have 3 colors for it. I have the blue, I have the green, and I have the red, but also I have 4 sizes: small, medium, large, and extra large. So how do we do this in WooCommerce? Well, let's create a new product, and I'm going to call it V-neck tee. Let's add the long and the short description. And by the way, I didn't mention this. If you're not seeing the product short description in your screen, you can go to screen options right here and make sure it's checked. Okay. And let's also add the price. But before we do that, let's set this as a variable product. Okay, this is very, very important. And we'll actually get to the price a little bit later. For now, let's talk about attributes. Okay, this is how you create those multiple variations. So we'll go to attributes and we'll go to, or we'll select custom product attribute. We'll click add. And I'm going to give this a name of color. And then for values, I'm going to select blue. And then I'm going to use the pipe character, green, and then red. And also make sure you check used for variations. Save attribute. Now let's add another custom attribute. We'll call this size. So for the size, we'll have S, M, L, and XL. And by the way, you can call these whatever you want. You can put small here or medium or large or whatever that is. So again, make sure you check this box used for variations, save attributes. So now we go to variations and we're going to select create variations from all attributes, click go, click OK. And WordPress tells me that, hey, 12 variations were added. Let's click OK. So now let's check out what we have. We have blue color for small, medium, large, and extra large. We have green, small, medium, large, and extra large. And then we have red for the same 4 sizes. So by combining the attributes of color and size, WooCommerce created 12 variations for this variable product. Now, what's cool about variations is that each one, and we can collapse or, expand each one can have its own SKU, it can have its own stock, it can have its own price, it can have its own image, which is pretty awesome. So let's actually start by adding the images, right? I'm just gonna upload an image. Let's put, this was the blue one. And I'm gonna select set variation image. And let's actually expand all variations here. So blue, I'm also gonna select, the blue for this. So the blue M has the same image. The blue L will have the same image. The blue XL will have the same image. And then we move on to green, right? For green, I'm just gonna drag and drop. I'm gonna set that. Set the green. Set the green. This might seem a bit of work, but fortunately you only have to do it once. Now we got to the red and we upload the red. And we'll do the same for the other 3 variations. It's quite easy to do in WordPress. Now, we had to do this manually for each one, but what if we want to set the price for all of these at once, right? We don't have to do it manually. We can just click here, and under pricing, I can say set regular prices. Click go, and we enter a value. So the price is $12.99. Click OK. Click OK. And now you'll see that all the variations have the price set at $12.99. But I want the XL versions to have a higher price because they're bigger shirts. So I'm just gonna go through all the XL versions and I'm gonna change to $15.99. For some reason, the price on this one was not set. Okay, so now if we publish this, and we open up the product, you will see that in the product page, we can see the prices, we can see the title, and we now have the option to choose a color and a size. And depending on the color that I choose, the image here will change. But for some reason, I do not see the red color in here. So what's up with that? Let's go back to the variations. Let's check out the reds. Oh yeah, for some reason, the price wasn't set correctly, but it's fine. We can do that manually like so. And we'll just hit update. We'll just do a refresh. And now we can see also the red versions. And you'll see, of course, that when I choose the XL version, the price here will also change, which is pretty cool. But if we take a look at the shop page, we don't see a picture here just yet. And that's because we added pictures for the variations, but not for the product itself. So let's go ahead and set the product image. Let's use this blue t-shirt. And we can also add a category, or sorry, a gallery I meant. So I'm going to add this and this. We're going to add those to the gallery. I'm going to hit update. So now the shop page will show the correct image. And also, I'm now able to see the gallery. And here's something else that's cool. When I select the color and a size, the gallery automatically shifts to that color. So if I want to see the green, the gallery shows me the green. If I want to see the red, it shows me the red, which is pretty awesome. Also, something else that you might have noticed is that in the shop page, I don't have an add to cart button like I have for the simple product. Instead, I have select options, and that's because this is a variable product. I can have different colors, different sizes, and obviously, until I select a color and a size, I cannot add it to the cart. Awesome. So what else do we have to add for this product? Well, we can add the weight, 250 grams. So let's go to variations, and I'm just gonna go in here and select the weight. I'm gonna set the weight to 250 grams for all of them. And what else? Inventory. I have 100 of each. So again, I'm going to select this inventory. I'm going to toggle the manage stock. Go. And I'm going to set the stock to 100. And that's going to do it for all of them. So now if we update, we'll be able to see that we have 100 pieces in stock, yeah, regardless of the color and the size. I can also set the SKU, right? So I can set like a general SKU, like so, and that's going to be displayed right here. Or I can set a SKU for each variation, I meant. So I can go in here and I can say this dash, I don't know, B for blue and S size. And I can hit update. So now if I open this and I select the blue and S size, we now have a different SKU just for this variation. Any other variation maintains the parent SKU. And then finally, we can go to this product and we can make sure it's under the proper categories. And also I can add the proper tags. So I can copy these from here, paste them here, add, update. So now I will have the proper categories and also the proper tags. And you'll see that when I click on one of these tags, for example, cotton, that's going to display all the products that have that tag of cotton. Now, besides the difference that you see here in the shop page, we can also see a difference in the cart. So for example, let's say let's check out the cart first of all. It's empty. Good. Let's add this polo shirt. And let's also add a V-neck. Let's add a green one. Add to the cart. So now when we view the cart, you can see the simple product, the polo shirt, it just says polo shirt. But the variable product, it says V-neck tee, which is the name of the product, but also WooCommerce displays the two variations, green and M. Pretty cool. Now, some key takeaways. In WooCommerce, a variable product has variations like color and size. The variations can be whatever you want, and they depend on the products you're selling. To create a variable product, you must first define the product attributes, color, size, capacity, etc. Then go to Variations and select Create Variations from All Attributes. Each product variation can have its own image, price, SKU, stock information, and much more. And that's how you can add variable products in WooCommerce. Now, so far, we've only looked at physical products, right? So something that you can physically ship to customers. But what about digital goods, digital products? You can totally do that in WooCommerce, and we have a few different categories for them. So let's explore digital products next. The three products we'll be looking at in this lesson are virtual, digital downloadable, and external. All of these are digital products, okay? But there are also differences between them, and each one should be used with a particular goal in mind. So let's see how we can create these and when we should use them. So the first product or product type we'll be looking at is the virtual product. And this is a simple product and it's non-downloadable. And one of the uses for such a product type would be a coaching call, right? So in my clothing store here, let's say I want to sell coaching calls with customers, right? Where I can teach them how to create a perfect outfit. So let's go ahead and create this product. I'm going to go to New Product, and let's go ahead and close this. Let's add its name, the two descriptions as we've been doing in this course. Yeah, and where it says product data, we're going to select simple product, but we're going to check virtual. Okay. And as WooCommerce says, virtual products are intangible and are not shipped. And of course, we can add a price, $99. We can also add a sale price, but we don't need to right now. Let's go ahead and copy this, this SKU. So we'll go to inventory, we'll add the SKU. We don't need to manage stock here because it's not a physical product. Let's go ahead and add an image. So set product image. I just have an image that I got from Unsplash. Let's call this coaching call. Set product image. And also let's set the product categories, digital assets and coaching under digital assets, just like that. And I can also add some tags like so. And then let's go ahead and publish. Let's view that product. So now this is a virtual product. It's a coaching call, right? It has a set price. It has a description. It has SKU, categories, tags, just like other products. But one thing that I don't want is to let people select more than one. So I can do that by going to inventory and checking this box that says limit purchases to one item per order. So let's update. So now if we refresh this page, you can see that the number picker is gone and I just have a single button here that says add to cart. So I can click that, I can view the cart, and now I can see my virtual product right here. Finally, we have a purchase note, right? And a purchase note is basically a message that's being sent to the customer after the purchase. Okay, so we can go back to the product. We can go to advanced purchase note and we can just paste this in. Okay, we can hit update. And now if we go back to the cart and we'll actually proceed to the checkout and we'll actually place an order, we'll get that, that purchase note displayed to us. Great. So that's the virtual product. And there are two more digital products I want to talk about. The next one is a digital downloadable. Now, a digital downloadable product is great for a file, right? If you're selling a PDF or something, this is a great use for it. And I have a PDF here. It's called ebook or the busy man's guide to the perfect outfit, which currently looks like this. And let's go ahead and open this and let's create this digital downloadable file. So I'm going to go to new product. I'm going to give it the title, the description, and then the short description. And under product data, this is also a simple product. It's virtual, but it's also downloadable. And when I check downloadable, I get some additional controls here, right? So let's go ahead and add that file. So let's upload this and I'm going to copy the URL to the clipboard. And it's actually automatically filled in here. I can give this a file name. We can call it the busy man's guide to the perfect outfit. I can set a download limit if I want to, but I'm going to set it to unlimited. And when should this expire? Like expire in 2 days, 10 days, whatever. I'm going to set the expiration to never. And I'm going to set the price to $29. And I'm also going to give this a SKU under the inventory. And I'm also going to limit the purchase here to one item per order. And then under categories, I'm going to add a new category called ebooks, which is placed under digital assets, like so. And then for the tags, add these. let's also add a product image. And let's hit publish. So now we have a digital downloadable product, which we can add to the cart, right? We can make a purchase. And after the purchase is complete, we can go into the account page, downloads, and we'll be able to see a link to download that file from this interface. It's actually quite simple. And finally, I want to talk to you about the third digital product we can create, which is an external product. Okay, so let's add a new product and let's open up our dummy external product here. And this is basically a WordPress blue logo tote, which can be found at this address here, right? So an external product is basically a product that's being sold elsewhere. And probably the most common use for this type of product is when you're doing affiliate marketing. So for example, if you go on Amazon and you find a product and you want to use their affiliate links to make some money from the purchase, you can add that to your own shop, that product to your own shop as an external product using the affiliate link. So for this exercise, let's pretend that this is the affiliate link, right? So I'm going to go in here. I'm going to fill in all the product information, and I'm going to mark this as external or affiliate product, right? So I'm going to paste in the product URL, which is this. I can also change the button text here, and I can set the price to 25. I can even create my own SKU, and let's set a product image like so, and let's add the categories. Let's create a new one called accessories, and let's add these tags, and let's hit publish. So now if we view the product, under accessories, we can find this. And when we click the buy product button, we are just taken to that original website where the product is being sold. So if you were selling an item from Amazon, when you would click this button, you'll be taken to the Amazon page. And of course, because you used an affiliate link, you'll get a commission from that sale. And that's probably where you'll be using external products the most when dealing with WooCommerce. And as a side note, the product you're linking to can be whatever, either physical or digital. It doesn't really matter. Now, a few key takeaways. In WooCommerce, we have 3 digital product types: virtual, digital downloadable, and external. Virtual products are simple, non-downloadable items and can be used successfully for selling services, like a coaching call, for example. Digital downloadable products are simple, virtual, and of course, downloadable. And these are perfect for selling ebooks, courses, or other items that can be downloaded. External products simply link to a product being sold elsewhere, and they're usually best used for affiliate marketing. All right, so far we've worked with both physical and digital products in WooCommerce, but there is one last product type we haven't covered, and that is a grouped product. Let's take care of that next. A grouped product is basically a collection of other individual products. And let me give you an example of where you might use such a product. Let's say you're running a computer store and you want to sell a gaming starter kit. Well, in that kit, in that grouped product, You might sell a computer, a monitor, keyboard, mouse, whatever, right? Or if you're running a clothing store, you might create a grouped product under the name of complete summer outfit, for example, where you sell shirt, pants, shoes, wristwatch, glasses, whatever. So it's basically a collection of products. And these can be really useful. Let me show you how to create them in WooCommerce. So for this grouped product, I basically want to sell these three products: a beanie with logo, a hoodie with logo, and a shirt with logo under the same product of, clothes with logos, let's say. Okay, it's a logo collection basically. So the first thing we have to do, of course, is create the three individual products. So let's quickly do that. New product. Let's call this beanie with logo. And I'm not going to worry too much about, the prices and everything. I'm just going to speed through this. Let's just call this $10. This is going to be a simple product. And I'm going to add a product image. Let's set that. And let's hit publish. Let's add a new product. This one is going to be hoodie with logo. Okay, again, $10, or let's say $15. Let's set a product image. Oops, it seems I broke WordPress. Let's do that again. Like so. Set product image and publish. And let's add a new one. We'll call this t-shirt with logo. This is going to be $13. And let's set a product image. Let's drop that in. Set, publish. So now if we take a look at the website, you can see that we have three new products. We have the beanie with logo, the hoodie, and the t-shirt with logo. So let's create the grouped product. So again, go to new product. We'll call this logo collection, and we have some description here, long description and short description. And we also have a SKU. But then we're going to select grouped product. And then we'll go here where it says linked products. And we're going to search for logo. And I'm going to choose the beanie. Again, logo. And I'm going to choose the hoodie. And then the t-shirt. And then for the product image, let's upload this one. Set. We can give it a collection here. Let's say men's clothing. And let's also add some product tags. And we'll hit publish. So now when we open up the storefront, we can see our logo collection with prices varying between $10 and $15. And I can click view products. And that's going to show me the three products that are contained in this grouped product, each one with their own price. And I can set individual numbers for them or quantities, and I can add them to the cart. So now my cart will show, the three beanies, the two hoodies, and the one t-shirt that I got. Now, if you decide, okay, I just want to show the grouped product, but not the original products, how do we do that? Well, you can go to each individual product, you can edit those, and where it says visibility, or catalog visibility, you can hide this product completely, okay? So let's hit update. And let's go to the other two. So t-shirt with logo, you can change the catalog visibility as well to hidden, update. And the third one was t-shirt, hoodie. I don't know. Let's see which one. Yeah, the hoodie is still visible here. So let's edit that. And let's hide this as well. Update. So now in my shop, I can only see my grouped product, but the others, of course, are still available for purchase. Okay, so some fast key takeaways. In WooCommerce, a group product is a collection of other individual products. To create one, simply select Grouped Product as the type, and then from the Linked Products tab, add the individual items. This is great for selling electronic kits, clothing, outfits, or any collection of related products. All right, so now that our store has some products, it's time to sell them. And to help you with that, WooCommerce has two awesome features called Upsells and Cross-Sells. So let me show you how they work and when you should use them. Upsells and cross-sells are all about increasing sales by displaying products of your choosing, either in the product page or in the cart page. Let me show you what I mean by that. So in our shop, let's say we open up the polo shirt, right? And if we scroll down, we can see related products. And these are usually products from the same category or products that have the same tags. But these are totally random. They're selected by WordPress. What if you would like to display some related products of your choosing in a specific product page? Well, this is where an upsell is very useful. So, for example, if I want to display, let's say, the coaching call in the product page of this polo shirt, well, let's go ahead and edit the product, and we can go to linked products, and where it says upsells, we can search for coaching call. And of course, I can add multiple products here, but let's say I just want to add that coaching call. Now, when I view the product, besides the related products we can see here, we also have the one that we chose, the coaching call, under You May Also Like. And this is really, really powerful because it really gives you the option to kind of push other products that you think could be interesting to the buyer, and not rely on just some random algorithm from WordPress. So these are upsells. Now, cross-sells are something else entirely. Let's say, let's go to the cart and let's delete these from the cart. Let's go back to the shop and let's add this polo shirt to the cart. Yeah. So now the cart looks something like this. Well, cross-sells allow you to display items of your choosing in the cart page when a specific product is placed in the cart, right? So let's say people buy the polo shirt and you think that they might also be interested in what else? Maybe a V-neck tee, right? Or maybe the ebook. Let's try and push the ebook, right? So we can go to that polo shirt, and we can go to linked products and cross-sell. I'm going to search for the ebook, and I'm going to push that as a cross-sell. And you'll see that now if we refresh the cart, WooCommerce shows visitors that, hey, you might also be interested in the ebook, the item that you just added to the polo shirt as a cross-sell. And of course, if we delete this and we return to the shop, maybe we want to add something else. You'll see that by adding the V-neck tee, we no longer have that cross-sell because that was specific to the polo shirt. Now, some key takeaways from this short lesson. Upsells and cross-sells are two methods you can use for increasing your sales. Upsells are products of your choosing that appear in specific product pages, while cross-sells are displayed in the shop cart when a specific product is added. And that's a quick look at upsells and cross-sells. Now, let's assume that we added all our products and we're ready to start selling, but we're not exactly happy with how our store looks like. So let's see what we can do about that. When it comes to customizing your WooCommerce store, you have a tremendous amount of options because the theme that you're using on your WordPress website will usually dictate the look and feel of your shop. And I say usually because not all themes are compatible with WooCommerce, meaning they don't have specific styles for the WooCommerce elements. And don't get me wrong, you can use whatever theme you want. Your store will function just fine. It's just that if you're using a WooCommerce compatible theme, then your shop pages will have the same, let's call it visual language as the rest of your website. So let me show you what I mean by that. If you remember from the beginning of the course, I told you that I'm using the default 2023 theme for this WordPress installation, right? And currently the shop or the website and the shop look something like that. We have the product page here. This is how the cart looks like. But then if we go to themes, and we switch the theme, let's say for 2022, which is another WordPress default. And we go ahead and visit the site. Visually, it's slightly different, right? We have different colors. The layout is different. If we open up a product image, this is slightly different, right? But the shop functions the same way. It's just displayed a little bit differently. Same thing goes if we change the theme to, let's say, 2021, which is an even older theme. All right, so now if we look here, yeah, these three themes are WooCommerce compatible, which means they have styles for the WooCommerce elements, but each looks a little bit different than the other, which is totally fine. So if you want to customize the way your shop works, or sorry, the way your shop looks, then you need to change the theme. And my recommendation is to go for a theme that's WooCommerce compatible. So it will have styles for every single WooCommerce element. And there are a lot of places where you can get themes like this. I'm just going to give you a couple of options so you can decide for yourself. And the first place is Envato Elements. If you go to More and WordPress here, you can select Themes and you can show more here, compatible with, and you can select WooCommerce. So there are about 1,000 or 1,126 WordPress themes at the time of this recording. And you can just, go through each one, see what it's all about, see a preview, and then just download that. Another great source is Theme Forest. So under WordPress, you can go to eCommerce right here, and you'll find about 1,400 themes. And these are high quality themes. And for each one, again, you can see a live preview and go through each of their features, see reviews, see how many sales they have. You can really order them and filter them by price, by sales. You have a lot of flexibility here. So this is Theme Forest. You also have the official WordPress theme repository, right? You have about 10,000 free themes here. And you also have a feature filter here. And, you can filter with eCommerce, And that's going to give you all the themes that are specifically built for e-commerce. Or alternatively, you can use a page builder like Elementor. And this is a very popular theme builder or page builder. It installs in WordPress as a plugin, and it allows you to build pages just like you can see in this animation here. So it's really easy to use. They also have pre-made templates. And if you decide to use Elementor, you can also find Elementor template kits here on Envato Elements. Now, some key takeaways. When customizing your shop, you should always pick a WordPress theme that's compatible with WooCommerce. There are thousands of free and premium themes available, and you can find some high-quality ones on Envato Elements, Theme Forest, and even the WordPress official theme directory. Alternatively, you can use a page builder like Elementor to discover and install additional themes. And that's a quick look at WooCommerce customization. Now, this is highly subjective, so I don't want to pursue it further in this course. If you would like to see a course, a dedicated course just for this topic, then let us know down in the comments. Now, we've added the products, right? Let's assume that we've customized the look and feel of the store. So that means we're ready to go, right? Well, not quite. Not quite. I'd say we're about 75% there. There are still a few things to set up when it comes to an online shop. So let's talk about that next. Because this is more of an introductory course to WooCommerce, I won't go over every single step that's required to take your store online, right? I dedicated a large chunk of this course to adding and managing products because I think that's a super crucial aspect. But when it comes to the rest of the steps, let me just quickly walk you through what you need to do next, okay? So, first thing is shipping and taxes. So for that, you would go to WooCommerce and you would go to settings and you would go to shipping. And here you would add your shipping zones. Okay. So in this example here, I have a zone name, I have a zone region, and this really depends on where you are in the world and where you want to ship. And then you would select the shipping methods, free shipping, or maybe you're going to have the customers pay for that shipping, right? And there are a bunch of settings and things you can configure here. There's a lot to talk about, and it's not something that I would be able to fit in one single course. So configuring shipping is your next step. Next would be to configure payment methods, right? So depending on where you are, you might have different payments or payment methods available to you. You could have, for example, cash on delivery, which you can enable from here. You can have check payments, direct bank transfer, and you also have this cool little add-on called WooCommerce Payments. So once you install that and you click Finish Setup, you can go on and finish setting up payment methods using credit cards. Currently, I'm on a local installation, so that doesn't really work out for me. But yeah, payments is something that you need to work on. You need to allow people to pay with, more than just cash on delivery. And you can also click this little link here to find extension store. So if you want to pay with Stripe or use Stripe as a payment platform, then you could install the Stripe extension for WooCommerce. It's a free download, and that's going to allow you to use the Stripe platform to handle all of your payments. And then finally, you should also take care of the emails. So WooCommerce is highly customizable. There are emails being sent for pretty much every single action that's related to the functioning of an online store. So when there's a new order, you get an email. When there's a canceled order, you get an email. And you can edit the emails that you receive as the admin, but also that the customer receives. And here you can see the full list. So for example, if you want to customize the email that a customer gets when his or her order is processing, right? You can click on Manage here, and you can change the email subject, the heading, some of the additional content. You can choose between different email types, and you can also change the HTML template entirely. So there's a lot you can do to really customize WooCommerce and to integrate it with, your website, your brand. So when creating an online store, I would definitely consider customizing these emails. So obviously there are a lot of settings you can tweak in WooCommerce, but at the bare minimum, I would say that before launching your store, these three are the ones that you need to pay attention to, right? So shipping, and then payment methods, and then the emails. And that's about it for this course. Let us know if you enjoyed it, and if you want to see a more advanced course on working with WooCommerce, then please let us know down in the comments. And also don't forget to check out the Envato Tuts Plus YouTube channel for more content like this, but also to learn about web design, web development, audio and video production, and a whole lot more. Also, make sure to hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. I'm Adi, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.